welcome to this evening about exchanging this knowledge and experience about the topic we have, which is role of managers in developing technical agility. So, like Priyank explained, I would like to keep it as interactive as possible. I definitely know we are all missing this face-to-face way of meeting in the conference or meetups. Definitely, nothing can replace that. So hence I thought I would try to make it as interactive as possible, possibly with some Q&A and some polling interaction, etc. So we'll jump straight into it. So let me start, and feel free to interrupt us if you have any difficulty in hearing me, right? Sometimes if there is a power outage or if there is some internet connection problem, usually it takes about a minute for me to switch to another internet connection, so please keep that in mind. Otherwise, just let us know, and Priyank or some of his colleagues will help us to restore the connection. Okay, so as Priyank has already given a brief overview, I just wanted to showcase that I'm basically focusing on agile ways of working since 2002, and it's almost become a way of living as well. And I never had a look back. About 10 years of practicing entrepreneurship. My first company, Aritha, which I co-founded with many other people, and also the second organization, which is Agility Moments, exclusively focused on leadership education and development, and been through some of those roles in leadership and coaching from last 12 years. I'm also a certified enterprise coach from Scrum Alliance and a few other credentials, basically, which will help me stay focused in this coaching, and in particular leadership coaching, leadership and management coaching. So that's a brief about me, and let's focus on what are we going to cover today, right? So we have broadly three topics: the context setting for this topic called technical agility, and there is an associated topic called technological savvy. I would be doing a context setting for that, and then we dive into role of managers in developing technical agility, and towards the end we can have a very focused Q&A. And again, like I mentioned, we will be encouraging you to share questions throughout the webinar. Feel free to make use of the Q&A option in Zoom. And then towards the end, we could probably have a dedicated Q&A. So with that said, let's jump in for the first topic, which is context setting. And let's focus on agility. Okay. And I want to start asking about this question called why agility. I'm not asking what agility, because I kind of understand that some of you might have some awareness already, but let's focus on why agility. Any of your thoughts, feel free to put it in the chat window. Why agility is needed for anyone, and in particular organizations and teams. So maybe Priyank or any of you, if you could read out some inputs coming in.
JP, so many coming in.
Okay.
Quick releases, responding to continuous disruptions, deliver value to the customer sooner, flexibility, balance and control, adaptability and flexibility, being current, responding to change.
Yeah,
I'm not doing justice to all of them that have come now, but I think we have pretty much.
I think that's a good sample. I think everyone definitely, it tells me that everyone is connected to what's happening around the world, right? The kind of world we are living in. Even before COVID-19, many of us were aware, and probably the COVID situation has made it a big reality in terms of the complex world we are living in, and definitely is evident from the answers. So I would like to again reiterate whatever most of you are saying. Now we are living in a world where the pace of change has changed. And in fact, it has changed in such a way that the change is changing exponentially, right? If you consider all the dimension, technological space, the kind of opportunities, the business models, and the service opportunities, the options for customer, right, is increased due to multiple vendors being competitive, multiple technological based solutions. Traditional manufacturing companies have become technology driven company and software driven company, right, with this so-called digitalization, industrial 4.0 and kind of things. So all in all, this is talking about the pace of change, which is changing or increasing exponentially, and the technological and advancement in automation world, and the globalization, which has made possible several things a reality. Now, what this means is, if we are not agile in our approach, if we don't have agility in the way we work, in the way we listen to our customers, in the way we capture their needs, in the way we co-create solutions to them, and the way we deliver, and also maintain the quality of what we deliver. If there is no agility, we are out of the game. This is no longer a choice. That's the context we are living in. And so basically, it's this increased complexity and the uncertainties along with rapid and exponential change. This is what has made agility inevitable. That's why we need agility, right? And that's a reiteration of what most of you knew already. And now what we are speaking today is, we need different types of agility. And I'm sure many of you would be familiar with, the terms like, business agility, or operational agility, or leadership agility, right? Management agility, technical agility, so many agilities out there, right? Even, we hear like HR agility, etc., etc. Now, amongst the list of so many agilities, let's focus today on technical agility. What is technical agility? Why do we need this? And how? And in how, today's webinar focuses mainly on role of managers in developing and enhancing and enabling this technical agility. Okay, that's the focus. And now let's focus on technical agility. Now, what thoughts come to your mind when you see this picture? Okay, there are three characters in that picture, and everything is indicating something, and they are all related to technical agility. Together they define what technical agility is. So let me hear some of your thoughts based on the picture that you're seeing here.
JP, we have coming in cross-functional team members, an idea in progress, idea development increments, concept define build, incubation of idea development and management, implementing new ideas, bounded time, juggling with changes, let the team and the machine to work out.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And people are really creative in interpreting this. I really like your creativity here. Okay, wonderful. So let me take this a little forward. So let's look at this term, the awareness, capacity, and ability of a professional, a leader or a manager, a team, and an organization, right? So the three terms I'm focusing here is the awareness, the capacity, and ability of any of these. Okay, professional, that means an individual, a team member, a leader or a manager, a team itself, and an organization. Okay. 2, discover and deliver value amid this uncertainty and risk in a transformation context. So I'm trying to give a new definition for technical agility, mainly because when I work as a coach, when I approach organizations and clients, many of them try to trivialize by calling technical agility means the agility in our coding practices, right? While that is true, technical agility has a broader significance, broader impact, and it involves many other disciplines. And what's the ultimate aim of having technical agility? It's the ability, the capacity and awareness. Let's say we speak about organization. Does an organization has good awareness and the capacity and the ability to discover and deliver value to our customers amid those uncertainty and risks that we spoke about in the previous slide, right? In a transformational context, do we have the so-called technical agility? That's what we are talking about. And it needs to be there at organization level, at leadership level, and each team level, and every individual level. Every individual need to have an awareness, capacity, and ability to discover and deliver value faster, okay? Which is matching with our customer needs. Okay, I've probably missed out the word faster here. I can also add that to make it a complete definition. So again, it's the same definition. Now let's focus on, to enable this technical agility, everyone, especially leaders, need to develop something called technological savvy. Now, when I say leaders, it includes managers as well, because managers also have a responsibility, leadership responsibility, in addition to management responsibility. And that is need of the 21st century. So whether you're a leader or a manager, we need to develop something called technological savvy to enable technical agility. Okay, and we want to really explore on what is technological savvy and why and how it is related to technical agility. So before I go there, I thought if there are any questions on this definition of technical agility. Anyone has a question, comment, feel free to type your question in the Q&A box. Priyank, let me know if there are any question about definition of technical agility.
None so far, JP.
Okay, good, great. So I assume it is making some sense at this point.
JP, there are a couple that came in now.
Okay, please read.
One is, what is technical about the definition?
Yeah, the technical is your ability to discover and deliver using your technology, using your technical skills. Okay, how do you discover and deliver without being technical, without using technology? That is technical. So in other words, let's say an organization calls itself as, I am a digitalization enabled organization. I have the latest and greatest people who knows the IoT and machine learning and everything. But if you take 3 months to seek some feedback about what customer really need, okay, then we don't have technical agility. If you take 1 year to develop and deliver something which is needed to be delivered in just 2 months by the customer, right? If there is a gap between what is the desired time to market compared to what is our current time to market, despite having all the technological skills, technological knowledge, there is a technical agility is missing. That's why I have tried to elevate the definition to our ability, which involves technical ability and other abilities to discover and deliver value faster amid uncertain risk. That's technical agility for me. Okay, so I hope that answered that question. Any other question, Priya?
Yeah, JP, couple more. What about practices required for technical agility?
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there, probably not in detail, but we'll touch about that.
A couple more questions, JP. I'll just pick one out of them.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that an organization can call itself technically agile only if all the lower levels are technically agile?
Not just lower levels, I would say all levels. Our organization need to have technical agility, meaning, as an example, right? Let's say you're a traditional company who's giving a year-long cycle time based solution to your customer. Tomorrow, the customers come back and say that, hey, you know what, your competitor is actually able to deliver the same solution in 6 months. Okay, how can you actually do that And by the way, you also need to leverage the so-called something called IoT, and we don't want our people to go physically in the plant, and we want some devices to be installed, and we really need those devices to generate the insights so that our people can better make sense of the data coming from and take certain business decision. Right? There's some business scenario. I'm just giving this as an example. And can you deliver that? Now, as an organization, if you're not equipped with the talent who knows how to approach the solution, if you don't have talent who are skilled in the IoT devices, that means we don't have technical agility at the organization level. Okay, that's one example. Let's say an organization does have some pockets of this kind of skill. But when you try to actually implement this, if you have an organization design which is so screwed up that when you approach the small group of 50 people who are kind of experts in IoT, and they say that, we are working on something else based on CEO's priority. Okay. And we will probably take 6 months for you to, and for us to respond to you. Can you wait? Now, if you lose 2 customers in that wait time, then your technical agility is missing at the next level. Your management, the leaders of those divisions are not agile enough to change your processes, to deliver and deploy the technical expertise you have in one pocket of the organization to cater to the most important needs of the organization. And if you actually go and ask why this is happening, because those guys do not have enough technological savvy. I mean, when I say those guys, the guys who don't have the skill, they could have proactively anticipated this need and maybe build some partnering relationship with that 50-member group proactively. And why this is not happening? Because these guys are not enough technologically savvy about what's happening around the world. What could be the projection in the next year? How could our customer react, right? So the overall answer is technical agility and the associated technological savvy need to be there at all levels: organization level, your leadership level, teams level, and every individual level. Okay, so Priyank, then now I'll proceed. If there are any other questions, we'll probably hold it till the end. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so with this foundation, let's explore what is technological savvy. Now, this piece that I'm showing here is an excerpt from Marshall Goldsmith guide on a competency called technological savvy. This is a leadership competency, which is very much relevant for managers and leaders in any organization. And I specifically want to highlight these a couple of items there. And before I do that, let's look at this. What is developing? What do you mean by developing technological savvy? That's the competency, right? A leader should know how to develop technological savvy for himself or herself, as well as for his managers and leaders. Similarly, a manager needs to have a competency called developing technological savvy for himself or herself, as well as for his or her teams. What do you mean by that? The definition from Marshall Goldsmith is understanding how the application of technology will increase people productivity and business effectiveness to succeed in tomorrow's world. Let's take an example of COVID-19. When everyone was stuck with the so-called remote working needs due to COVID-19, how many organizations were able to respond with speed on how can we resume effective meetings and discussions in the remote world? Right? And when you try to do that, many of you, I'm sure many of you would have seen this, you experience surge in the connections, and your tools like MS Teams or Zoom, whatever you're using, were like choked from the bandwidth point of view. Many of you would have experienced security concerns, right? Vulnerability of security when we are connected to via home, right, from your personal computers. How many of you are equipped to actually connect from an ordinary system when you are normally connecting with high-end laptops from office, right? So how did we manage? What are the new application, new tools which could help us improve the effectiveness in the remote work way of working, right? How many of your managers and leaders, right? If you are a manager, how much knowledge you had about what are those tools, right? For example, can as a manager, can you recommend your leadership, what are some of the top 3 tools for enabling, let's say, joint release planning meeting across the geography, which will involve visualization, which will involve simultaneous connection, and facilities like breakout room, right? How fast can you actually do that comparison and recommend, keeping in mind your organization's constraints, your security vulnerability? How much equipped are we as managers to deploy this when there is an urgent need, right? This is what is called developing technological savvy, the foreseeing the needs, anticipating risks, leveraging the modern technology to increase the productivity, to increase the meeting effectiveness, to increase, let's say, the quality of delivery, to increase the speed of feedback, right? Feedback loops. How fast can we seek feedback? How can we leverage technology there? How can we leverage modern technical skills? How much equipped are we as a manager or a leader? That defines your competency level, the maturity of this competency. And as per Marshall Goldsmith and many other research and my own experience, this is a must competency in the 21st century for every leader and manager, right? And the piece that you see here, when we try to measure the competency for this, some of the survey questions that will be asked for people who interact with such managers and leaders, these are the survey question. Would a manager strive to acquire technological knowledge needed to succeed in tomorrow's world? Would a manager successfully recruit people with needed technology expertise to build the talent pool for the future? Right? Would a manager effectively manage the use of technology to increase productivity? In fact, we can add to this. How proactive is your manager or leader in developing the technical competency of your team members, which is not needed for current project or product, but is needed for future? How are you balancing your current needs and future needs? Right? That defines this something called technological savvy. Okay, and technological savvy is more of a mindset, and it's going to help us to do these things, whatever we have seen in the survey. And this can actually enable technical agility for your teams, for yourself, and for your organization. Okay, so I just spoke something about this word, and it is time for the first poll. Let's do the poll. And for participating in the poll, may I request all the participants to visit this website called menti.com. You can use your mobile phone or your browser, just menti.com, and then it asks for a code. Please enter this code 6610454. Maybe I will type it in the chat. Or Priyank, can you please type it for me?
Yeah, sure.
661045 and 4. And I would be running to this presentation of the poll. Yes, people have started participating already. So please answer this question. How is technological savvy related to technical agility? Okay. Okay. A lot of you are converging on a couple of options here. I think I almost gave some hints towards the end, just before I opened the poll. So I could see a very great convergence on the hint I gave and what you're thinking. Awesome, right? I think many of you are feeling that technological savvy that I just spoke and defined. It's developing technological savvy is a competency. And just the word technological savvy is the mindset. Do you have a mindset that I need to use technical skills, modern technical skills, to actually increase productivity or to increase possibility for my teams to be more technically agile or to have more technical agility? I need to be aware of myself as a manager, and also I need to create space where people can experiment with modern technology. And if you have that mindset, then you will do what is necessary. If you lack that mindset, then you would probably in a corner, I know this is not my job, this is the role of a so-called technical manager, this is the role of an architect, this is the role of a CTO, right? And you will not care about this. And if you are a manager who are in that mindset, um, um, you can be rest assured that you will be asked to get off the bus. Today's organizations need managers and leaders who are technologically savvy enough, who knows how to develop technological savvy in others. As a competency, you need to have the skill. If you're not there, you're going to have a tough time. And there's the same story with people from testing background. There were gone are the days where you had luxury of being a manual tester, right? Nowadays, many of you would have realized that without learning automation skills in the testing, you are no longer relevant, right? So though manual testing has a lot of value, but that's not sufficient, right? You are already not there in the game. It's the same thing for a manager. So very beautifully, I think, converge here. Technological savvy is a mindset, and it is needed to develop technical agility. Okay, so that's where we'll head towards. Thank you for this poll participation. Let me close this here, and I'll go back to my presentation. So why technical agility and why technological savvy? If you really ask this question to yourself, I would like to point to another aspect from Marshall Goldsmith. Like I mentioned, there are 15 global leadership competencies that have been surveyed by interviewing and surveying more than 80,000 plus leaders across the globe by Marshall Goldsmith organization. And the competencies are categorized into 5 categories. If you see: communication, engaging people, boundaryless inclusion, and assuring success. Assuring success to customer, assuring success to the organization, right? And then continuous change. And if you look at this, developing technological savvy is one of those 15 leadership competencies, which is very relevant and important for leaders and managers. And what you see in this bracket is something called emerging. L means large gap and T means timeless. So out of all the leaders that we surveyed, we found out that some of the competencies, there is a huge gap between how it was considered, let's say 50 years back, and how it is considered now. There is a huge gap, and it is not developed at all in many leaders and managers. When you see E, it means this is something which has emerged in the last few decades and has become very, very important in today's world. So developing technological savvy is one such emergent leadership competency, management competency, which has emerged in the recent years. Okay, and T means this is timeless. Whether you speak about the managers and leaders 100 years back, or whether you speak about them 100 years from now in the future, this will be a must and needed competency, right? So maintaining a competitive advantage can actually assure success to the organization. And developing technological savvy and ability to maintain competitive advantage together, use this for enabling technical agility, which can in turn ensure customer satisfaction in terms of response time, time to market. All of that can assure success to customer as well as our business. So it is very, very important to note that this is not a choice. This is one of the key 15 leadership competencies needed to succeed and grow in today's context, which we spoke in the beginning. Okay. So now, with this context, let's jump into role of managers in developing technical agility. Now that we understand that technological savvy is the mindset and technical agility is that awareness, capacity, and ability to discover and deliver value amid uncertainty and risk, right? With that definition, let's see what managers have to do in this process of developing technological savvy first. Let's focus on developing technological savvy. Okay, so what are some thoughts? What do you guys think? What is the role of managers in developing technological savvy, both for themselves and also for their teams. Some thoughts from the chat?
JP, there are thoughts coming in.
Yeah.
Be change agents, continuous learning, leading change, growth mindset, bringing in a discipline that's acceptable worldwide, listening to the needs and enabling implementation. The other one is need to keep themselves informed about technological trends, time management, promote learning mindset in the team, well informed about or proficient in the use of modern technology, understanding new technology,
Yeah.
adapting to change.
And if I were to bound all the answers that you're reading, Priyank, the one keyword that comes to my mind is how much time and energy do managers invest themselves in actually doing all the points that you mentioned for themselves as well as for the teams. It is about that intentional learning mindset, intentional learning practice that we put in on a day-to-day basis in knowing what's happening around the world and what kind of technological trends are evolving, how are they affecting the business model, how much our teams are equipped to even learn something new. If you were to enable them to learn, how is my organization positioned, how is my L&D as an organization equipped to give us access to that, what's the cycle time to get training from an expert trainer in a technological space. Is our current cycle time 3 months, and by 3 months maybe the customer would be lost, right? Can we get a new latest coach and a trainer in the technological space with a cycle time of 1 day or maybe 2 hours, right? Now that differentiates the readiness and the technical agility of one organization to another, one manager to another, one team to another, right? So I would say how much time and energy we invest in developing this. That's a binding answer for some of the thoughts that came in. Okay, let me also ask these things. So if you look at these two, what additional thoughts come into your mind about developing technological savvy?
JP, there are a couple of thoughts coming in.
Yep.
Flexibility to adapt new latest tools instead of using old tools. Enough profits to invest in being technology savvy. Complexities.
Yeah. What else? Okay, awesome. That's definitely good.
Appetite and discipline. Remain competitive. Modernizations.
Yeah.
Left is an UFO and right looks like a chess. Combined thoughts.
Okay. Yeah,
Ability
I
to
think.
strategize. Many coming in now.
Yeah, great. I think great thoughts there. And the reason why I picked up this chess is is this building represents organization, and there are all kinds of strategies happening around the world on changing the business model. Just take an example of banking industry. Now you would have heard about Paytm, Google Pay, and many things. On the first look, they all look like same. They all at the end of the day enable us to make payments, digital payments for us. But in reality, are they competing with each other? Are they collaborating with each other? Or what are they doing? Why do you have so many options? How can they all coexist? How can they all grow? What's the model that is working for them, right? So for example, if you consider Paytm, if you consider Google Pay, and if you consider a few other vendors like that in the digital payment space, though everyone is adding value to customer to make your process of payment easy, everyone is focusing on improvising some aspects of the entire cycle of digital payment, starting from initiation of the payment to actually authentication and the handshake between the different banks, to collecting the money and crediting remitting it to the company, and then giving you a confirmation. There's a whole lot of thing involved, and there is a lot of expertise involved in each of these space. So if you think about the business strategy, strategies like blue ocean strategies are helping these guys to collaborate and co-create a experience for the customer instead of competing, and that's why they're able to survive together. And if we have to do that strategy, let's say as a company, if you want to jump into that blue ocean strategy, you may have to have some integration facility with another company which is using a different technology. How well is your solution interoperable with another set of technology? How well are you equipped, right? So now you see here, technological savvy does not mean just learning a new coding skill or new Python or new machine learning algorithm, but it also goes to how do we make our solution interoperable with another set of similar technology, but it's different technology. It's not exactly same, but they're similar, and we need to interoperate instead of competing. How well are we equipped? Or just take another example. Let's say in your solution, you want to enable cloud-based solution, which was not there from last 10 years. And if you were to use some open source technology, how does it impact licensing? What is the license model? How does it impact the overall product cost? As a manager, how well are we equipped to know these things? You don't have to be an expert, but can you speak about this? Or if you ask some input from an architect, do you understand what the architect is saying? And can you make some business decision based on the implication of the licensing cost? How about security vulnerability? How do you take a decision as a manager who is managing a pool of resources? Right? So that's why I'm trying to hint here that developing technological savvy not only means getting to know IoT and modern coding languages, modern networking interfaces, etc., etc. Also about understanding how new business models work and how technology fits in there, and how to equip our people, our teams, to actually get up to this. Okay, so to do this, the necessary precondition is you got to have a continuous learning mindset. On one hand, you're looking at what's happening around the world to make your organization efficient in terms of adoption of DevOps practices, DevOps thinking. How can we reduce the cycle time? How can we increase feedback loops? What new technologies can enable in our context so that we can achieve speed? At the same time, how can we adapt our strategies, right? So, and adaptation skills using technology will help you discover things fast, discover the customer needs, discover the organization challenges, discover the delivery challenges, right? And bringing speed here will help us in delivering faster. So the overall technical agility is our awareness about where we are and where we need to go, and our capacity, right? How much proactively are we building the capacity for the future? And it is not enough if you have capacity, if you just have awareness. Can we actually put into action? That's called ability to put into action and make things happen. Do we have our organizational processes in line to take a decision? Can we close a procurement of a new tool and its license in just a week's time? And traditionally, let's say it takes 6 months. That's the ability. So awareness, capacity, ability to discover and deliver based on the emergent trends in both business strategy world and the technology world, which can help us adapt at speed to cater to today's context of ever increasing speed. That is the meaning of developing technological savvy. It could be one meaning, but you can discover several other meanings, but you'll ultimately should be able to discover and deliver things faster. That's what defines technological agility. And as managers, we have a role in each of this area, right? First, having a learning mindset ourselves and imbibing this in our teams and helping them, enabling them to make progress in this. It takes a lot of skills, competencies, and experiments, a lot of experiments. So developing awareness on emerging technologies and awareness on evolving business strategies and operating models together. Can we do it together? That's the crux of developing technological savvy. Okay, and now developing technical agility. Based on that technological savvy, how can we develop technical agility? Now, what do I mean by discovering whatever we are doing? Is it valuable? Is it feasible? Is it usable? Is it sustainable? Is it secure? So now this, probably some of you would have got a hint that I'm talking about product discovery here, customer discovery here, or solution discovery. Now technical agility plays a crucial role on how fast can we discover, is our MEP approach valuable or feasible? Is it valuable to the customer? How fast can we do? What technical tools can we, for example, let's say we have a tool called Lean Canvas, business model canvas. How can we leverage that and actually validate a hypothesis, which typically takes 6 months in the normal conventional method? So for me, that's a technical solution. A one-page business canvas, a lean canvas, which can be co-created under the four walls by getting the right people. That's the technical agility for me in discovery. Similarly, when it comes to delivery, the quality, reliability, all of this will relate to DevOps based practices. How much are we equipped? How can we leverage, right? So developing this requires a huge focus from role managers. So here is what I wanted to share. First of all, we know that technical agility exists at different levels: org level, leaders level, team level, and individual level. So how can we as managers focus on developing this at individual level? How can I motivate each person to be proactively future oriented? How can I enable my teams, and how can I demand my teams? And how can I do this at an organization level depending on your role, right? Managers can be at different level. Now, let me pull an example from what it means to the teams, right? If you recall your own companies, your own organization, if you are working as a project manager or a technical manager or development manager, whatever is your title, right? You will have certain policies from your organization, which is typically coming from learning and development organization. And you will have certain plan that every year my teams have to undergo trainings or whatever learning in this top 10 areas, right? Whatever, some 10 areas, and everyone has to, will have a budget. They have, some of them would be mandatory, some of them would be optional. And many of you would have seen that team members do enroll themselves, they train, they come back, and whenever they are on training, their delivery will be impacted, etc., etc., and you will plan. But at the end of the year, if you ask a question, whatever trainings my teams went through, how much was that aligned with what we need to work in the current year for the current product, for the current customer? And you will see that maybe 60 to 80% of them was not useful, or it may be useful sometime, someday. Now, was that future oriented? Was it intentional? Or did my teams go through just because those were the trainings allocated by my L&D? Where is the collaboration between the L&D head and the engineering head on how do we choose the next set of technologies for next 1 year or next 6 months, keeping our immediate product focus in mind? How can we change that? How can we give option to the team to choose what they need to work on instead of attending mandatory trainings just because there is a policy? If you reflect on all these things, then you will know the role of managers. You got to have a lot of catalyst role here to have conversation between the teams and the L&D head, teams and your engineering head. How do you surface some challenges and make them transparent? How do you unblock a person from your team to attend the right training which matters rather than attending some default training which is there from L&D, for example? That's the role of a manager. I'm just wanted to use this as an example here. Okay, and at each level you have different focus. When you're focusing at the individual level, you want to enable build quality in through automation and automated way of checking any issues from the quality. At the team level, you want to ensure that team receives feedback as early as possible. It could be feedback from your code base, from your build process, from your stakeholder, from your Q&A, from your customers. And at organization level, how fast an organization can respond to changes from the market, right? How are you enabling technical agility to achieve this focus area? That's the role of managers. And to do this, it starts with you. That means self, with the manager. And it needs a learning mindset, the coaching ability, because this cannot be happening with your traditional command and control mindset. You need an ability to coach L&D head to actually change the process. And we also need extreme focus on learning about new technology 15 minutes a day, half an hour a day. How are you investing and doing the deliberate practice in a focused manner? Okay, so that's about the role of managers. Now I have a poll to end to take you to the Q&A section. Before I do that, can I just ask or invite any questions on the current slide content, role of managers? What question, what comment you have about this?
JP, I think there was one question that was just waiting,
Yeah.
reading it now. In large organizations, the training needs are these days identified at senior leadership level and just passed on downstream.
Mm-hmm.
What do we suggest the middle management?
Yeah, that's exactly an example that I was giving, right? Someone decides sitting somewhere, and what we need to enable is team driven needs. And the team driven needs should be aligned with your product goals, which is in turn aligned with your business goals. So, how can we empower teams to drive what they need to learn? Right? That's the question, if I'm not wrong, right? The person is asking. So, what can a manager do? So just take this example. How do you build a case, a business case for a different learning need from your team? How do you build a case? If you go by standard operating procedure, managers basically send an email and they collect some inputs from the team, and they said our team actually has requested for training on machine learning and whatever, some algorithms, some data science, etc. And it presents, and the way leadership response is, hey, we have a budget of this much and this has to be distributed across all 10 projects. So if budget is available, go for it. Otherwise, let's go for next year, next batch. This is the kind of transaction that happens, the communication that happens in my experience. If you were to reverse this, if you were to change this, then when you are building the case, the way I'm going to put this proposal is, these are the skills needed for my team, and that's because they're working on this product. This product has this value to be delivered in next 6 months, and the impact of delivering this is so and so. This is the opportunity that we create, this is the revenue that we increase, this is the profit we will make, this is the loss we will save, and impact of not doing, this is what it is. If I send my proposal like this, any sensible leader would be at least curious to actually go to the details and have a healthy debate. And if your leaders are not in that space, that means as a manager, I need to surface this to the next level and create a sense of urgency. And even that requires skill, right? Because there is a power politics that comes in and you have a fear of your appraisal. How do you do that? So that is where you need a coaching ability and you need a different leadership style. As a manager, you need to make that as a win-win conversation. How do you learn? How do you invest in developing that? Those are all examples of what a managers can do in that situation. Okay.
JP, there's one more question.
Yes, please.
Both are important. What is your recommendation about priority? TS first or TA first?
Okay. Now this is like a question about whether mindset is important or the skills are important. Now, can you guys imagine one without the other? If you don't have the right mindset, right, you may never actually pay attention to what skills are needed. And if you jump into the skills without the right mindset, you might learn, but you might fail to actually convince your colleagues, your upper management, your peers. So enabling that mindset is also equally important, especially if you're a manager, because mindset is needed for the whole team. It is not enough that only architect is on top of all the latest technology, and an architect comes and tries to teach something. Teams takes ages together to learn, and your customer is already running out of time. So how can you impact the mindset of your team members, including your architect? How can you motivate your architect to work as a collaborative leader rather than an insecure person who is worried about losing his position and relevance as an architect? How do you imbibe that mindset in your architect? So both are equally important and one feeds to other. That's how I look at it. Maybe others have different perspectives here.
JP, there's couple more questions.
Yeah, we'll take one more and we'll go to the poll and come back to the Q&A section.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there is one that you've answered already, which is related. If you had to start with just one thing, where would you focus your initial effort? I think you answered that just now.
Yep.
One more question. Only quality and automation for individuals? Question mark.
Yeah. So again, the word focus tells it all. There are many things we have to do at individual level. And if you were to ask me, why are we developing or enabling technical agility at individual, to have this mindset called build quality in. And build quality in requires automation. Without automation, you cannot build quality in. And if you can embrace this mindset through technical agility practices, rest of it is taken care for you. For example, speed. Many people think that quality and speed don't go along. If you want more quality, you have to do it slowly. If you do it faster, quality will be suffer. And that has been proven wrong with agile. Right? If you invest in right engineering practices like pair programming, TDD, and DevOps best practices, it brings speed along with quality. Both of them can go hand in hand, and they are, in fact, I would argue that quality equals speed, speed equals quality. You cannot see them separately. So it's just a matter of me picking those words as focus. But yeah, obviously there are many other things at the individual level. Thanks for asking that question. That's a very, very good observation there. Okay, so let me just jump into our poll and then we will come back to the Q&A for another remaining time, right? Whatever time we have. So please go back to samementi.com, same code 6610454, and I'll be presenting the second one. Okay. So here's the next question. Which of these statements is a myth or an enabler to develop technical agility? And the way you're going to answer is, if you think it's a myth, you can leave the lever at the left-hand side, which is already there. If you think it's an enabler, drag it to the right. And you do this for all the statements. And we'll be done. Myth means left-hand side, enabler means right-hand side, 0 or 1. And start submitting. I hope people are able to still access this Mentimeter. I don't see any changes happening. Ben, can you just check in the chat if people are okay? Yeah, now I can see.
Yeah, even I'm trying parallelly.
Yeah, now I can see. Yeah. Let's give a few more seconds. Okay, acknowledging our own weakness as a manager and learning from the team. Being open to learn from the team, because as a manager, you cannot be on top of everything. Maybe your teams are really better than you. How can you learn from them to develop your own technological savvy? This behavior, this attitude, this mindset, is it an enabler or myth? And I'm glad that you're seeing that as an enabler, as an example. So let's give a few more seconds. Okay, so daily practice to increase awareness. Yeah, daily practice, and I really mean daily practice, like journaling and shaping the learning culture of the team. Great. And managers role modeling by developing their own technical agility is also towards the right. That's great. Okay, I think you guys got it pretty well. So that was my last slide, and I just wanted to end the talk with this list of myths and enablers. Many people think that technical agility is not for me. I'm a people manager. I'm a project manager. I'm a program manager. I'm a portfolio manager. Irrespective of what kind of manager you are, if you don't have technological savvy, you're gone. You're not relevant anymore in this today's modern context. It doesn't mean you have to be technical expert. Okay, we are already clear on that. Similarly, being technical means does not mean actually you need to have ability to code and understand the architecture. But you need to understand, if you use some technology, new programming language, new framework in your code, in your teams, what does it mean for licensing and costing? What does it mean for your security compliance? That much awareness we need to have. That's called technological savvy. Okay, I think others are pretty straightforward. Maybe I'll leave last 5 minutes or 6 minutes for any questions. Thank you.
JP,
And
there is
these are,
one observation that came in, I think.
Mhm.
Hiring and people development aligned to these practices is key as a
Yep,
manager.
yep, yep. Very, very, very valid point. Hiring and training people, and also impacting the hiring strategy, having a discussion around that is a contribution to technical agility. And who can do that? The managers and leaders, to build the business case, get things done.
I see there are a couple of hands being raised, but there are many, many participants today. So managing through unmuting of those that have raised their hands is going to be hard. So
Yeah,
please, your
maybe
question.
you can start reading some more new questions that are popping up.
Yeah, it just came. One more just came.
Yeah,
How do you describe the difference and relationship between technical agility and business agility?
yeah. If you look at the definition, right, the ability, the awareness, ability, and capacity to discover and deliver value, right? Now, if you look at business agility, it's the same thing. But when I'm talking about technical agility, my focus is your awareness, ability, and capacity to discover and deliver faster amid uncertainty and risk. So the ability to do things faster is focused on technical agility. How fast can we discover what customer needs? How fast can we give a prototype solution? How fast can we find out whether a solution works or not? How fast can we fix a customer defect? So the speed, doing it to speed, when we have a lot of uncertainty and complexity, and when you have risk, that's technical agility. Now, if you bring the same behavior in an HR organization, in an L&D organization, in a procurement organization, if all of them develop this technical agility, for me, that's business agility. As a business, you have this technical agility in all your departments. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I look at it.
JP, one
Any
more
other
question.
question? Yeah.
Testing craftsmanship is must to deliver value? Question
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Very valid. Craftsmanship about coding, about testing, about let's say even whatever you do, right? Can you do it like no one else in this world do, like a craftsman? And the craftsmanship mindset is do it right first time, and next time, and every time. You do it with that mindset, and because we are human beings, mistakes are bound to happen. If they happen, do we have a mechanism to catch it as soon as it happens? And as soon as we catch it, can we fix it? And that's build quality in for me, and that requires craftsmanship mindset. And to enable craftsmanship in the technical layer, we need technological savvy. How do you bring in craftsmanship in a complex project which involves hardware, which involves firmware? What's happening around the world? That's technological savvy for me.
Thank you. It was a great session, and thank you all for taking time to participate today.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.